Good morning, everybody. I'm Vicki Garufi, Director of Education at the Center for the Urban River, which is part of Sarah Lawrence College. Presenting Assessing Program Success with Kathleen Ruin, who's the Associate Director of the Art of Teaching program with Sarah Lawrence, and Lars Freeman, who is a graduate student and the grant researcher on this collaborative event of assessing student programs at CURB. We are located in downtown Yonkers, and we focus mainly on K through 12 environmental education programs, hands-on, interdisciplinary. These kids, as you can see here, are hands-on. They're touching the fish in this particular program. We're teaching about food chains, watersheds, focused on Hudson River and other nearby tributaries, water quality, water pollution. In the past years, we never really did an evaluation method before. We had an opportunity of many partnership opportunities within the college now since we joined with them of going for a grant where we can finally assess this.
Hi, I'm Lars Freeman. I am a graduate student at Sarah Lawrence, and I'm also helping Kathleen and Victoria with the grant. I got my MFA at Sarah Lawrence, and now I'm in the Art of Teaching program there. Kathleen asked me if I might be interested in a grant that had come to her attention, the NYS Water Resources Research Grant. I said I would be interested. A few days later, Kathleen emailed me the grant and an article, The Educational Value of Field Trips and Education Next, the methodology of which might serve to inform the grant. The article discussed how the idea of field trips had negatively shifted over the years, from attending museums and other cultural centers to amusement parks and sporting activities. By administering pre- and post surveys to schools attending Crystal Bridges Museum of American Art in Northwest Arkansas, it was able to statistically show how bringing students to an art museum improved critical thinking skills, cultural awareness, and prompted empathy and understanding. Taking cues from the article in Education Next, we decided that our main focus, our motivation in the research would be to show environmental empathy, environmental engagement, and interest in CURB by administering simple, child-friendly pre- and post surveys about the Hudson River to the schools attending CURB programs.
We selected just a few just to show for this. Both of these right now are pre-trip, and this was a Yonkers Public School second grade class where they said draw a picture. And so it says, I might see boats, eagle, crocs, turtles, river, dolphins, deer, and might remember of Loch Ness, a Loch Ness. This student says, I might find lots of animals, okay? And that very well might be true. So then we have some post-trip. Here I thought was interesting, this crab here, and then there's the number 6. Maybe we caught 6 crabs that day, and they remembered that they caught 6 crabs in the seine net. I'd like to think that anyway. And then over here, write or draw a picture about what you might find in the river. Here's clouds, the sun, the Hudson River, it's labeled. And on the side here, there's little side pictures there. It says, I remember that I went to the river and took out some fishes and went to see some shellies and trees and a lot of things. So there's an opportunity where they drew a picture and they were also able to use language to share their experience back.
All right, so we were so excited to get this grant, very surprised. I had training in qualitative research myself, so it was really great to have those tools being utilized in this study. So the pre-surveys were mailed to the schools. When the students arrived, then these pre-surveys were turned in. And then the post-surveys were then given to the teachers when they were leaving most of the time. And then those surveys were usually returned back within 1 or 2 weeks. What do you notice about this survey? Short?
Large font.
Large font?
It's easy.
Easy.
It says Hudson River in every question.
Hudson River, yep. Art, yeah. When we were designing it, we were really thinking about something that would be age appropriate for all ages. Using my own teacher eye, Vicki's teacher eye, and our experiences, we really took this out of the blue from what we know about children and what we knew about CURB as the information that we thought were the basic facts. It could be quantitative but also qualitative analysis that could come from these pictures.
So now what do the findings indicate?
This was the best field trip ever. This is so cool. Those poor fish. If I become president, I'm going to make littering illegal. How would you feel if you were taken out of your environment and put into someone else's hands? I didn't think there was so much life in the Hudson. I thought it was basically dead. In total, roughly 24 schools participated in the surveys, 18 public, 6 private independent, and a total of 790 students.
Our data could have been even stronger if we had done a couple things on the survey. So we thought, oh well, let's try to apply for that grant again. If we partner with other educational programs and not only prove that CURB itself has a great effect on children's empathy, environmental empathy, and their engagement and their connection with the river and the animals, but that this sort of work, this is also happening in lots of other places. This idea of why is it important to continue and expand this research. For myself as a professor training educators, a lot of my work is centered on the idea of taking trips. I think that children getting out into the world and learn that from their environment, whether it's urban, rural, suburban, that right there in their environment is so much to learn about historically, environmentally, scientifically, all that stuff. So this research would support very much my own philosophy as an educator, but I think it could also be quite transformative if you're going to think of the big picture on educational policy. We have to stop having children stuck in classrooms.